Alright everybody, this is my last review for the evening. I haven't been doing a lot of them, been really busy lately, but I have gotten some cool stuff in that I'd like to give a review and let, bring out to the light. And this is what it is. Alright, basically what this is I guess you could call it a nemissis clone, but it's not a clone. Well, it is a clone, but they did not put the markings on it. It does not have, like I said, it does not have any of the nemissis markings on it. It is their design. Aside from it's a little bit smaller. The pieces of this are not interchangeable with a real nemissis or even any of the other clones. I got this on a group buy, and the gentleman that held the group buy asked if we could get actually like I guess it was a Chi-Yu at first is what he wanted to get out of copper. But they said they couldn't do it, but they said they could do the nemissis. So it didn't take long to get it, and they had to make them from scratch, just specifically for us, and they came out really, really well. Here it is in 350 mode. I brush. I don't like polish mods. I've said it in a lot of my other videos. So I did brush this one. So it has a brush finish on it. And like I said, it's a little smaller than 22 millimeters, and I want to say it's like 21.75. Like it's not a huge difference, but it's a difference, especially to where the parts are not interchangeable. Which I kind of really wanted to put the kick ring on one of my other, on my nemissis, on my legit nemissis, and couldn't do it. Nobody else has these but us. They were made specifically for the group buy, so there's not very many of them, and I'm really enjoying it. But aside from, I had two problems with it. Like I said, it's not an exact 22 millimeter, and I don't know if you can see this, but as like the other nemissis are the same way. See that little lip right here on the top? Try to cover it up so you can see it a little better. There's a little ridge that runs around the top of this where the airflow snaps down onto it. It was too high. It sat up above the top of this control ring to where my addies wouldn't sit flush on it. So I did have to sand it down. I sanded it down, no problems. The mod works great. I have no complaints. It works amazing. It hits very, very hard. It has the silver-plated contacts. It has the exact same button as a nemissis. And a lot of people even said, the clones would be a slight bit better. And another thing I did was, if you've ever, I'm not going to take this apart, but if you've ever taken apart one of these buttons, there's a little pin. Let me see if I can get it in there. There's a little pin right there on the side, and that is your actual contact. It was a little long. So I sanded it down, and I sanded the female part where that contact screws down into the button. I sanded them all down because I was getting a very, very large gap. And I even have it with like my regular nemissis. It doesn't, like, for some reason it just, like, I would have, the button would stick out like that far off the mod. And you know, it just looks bad to me. You know, the throw is always the same, but you know, it was that distance between the lock ring and the, excuse me, the bottom button that really bothered me. So I sanded them down, and it's a lot closer to where I like it. I might even sand it some more to get it a little lower. In 500 mode, it's not there. We've never used a 650 tube, but you know, and that's how far it is on the 350. And I have, oh shit, there's not a battery. And you know, I think this one's now the same distance as my real Nemesis is. And it came with, you know, unscrew them so you can see the gap in between them. You know, the 650 tube, the 500 tube, and the kick ring. You know, and it's a really pretty copper mod. Like I said, we opted out of to get any of the engravings on it. So I don't know if I sound like an idiot, but you know, it's a little better in the clone area. You can't like pass this off as a real Nemesis because it doesn't have the engravings. I do own Nemesis clones, and you know, I have them to use on. I bought them specifically to use the button, the top cap, and the ring for my anodized tubes. It is what it is. You know, the lock ring works real well on this. Like, you know, the Nemesis, you know, you'll have to screw it a lot, but like if you just flick it, you know, a quick flick. Sorry, I'm having English problems tonight. You know, locks it in. All the tubes. You know, the airflow control does work. And I'm going to talk about this other part that I got. Alright, this is an iGo W. And I like the way it vapes, but, you know, with it, I don't like, I think it was, it's either a 19 or a 20 millimeter mod. So, this I got from Capitall Vapes, and it's a group on Facebook. You can order directly from them through Facebook, I think. That's how I got mine. I seen a group, a list of what they had in stock, and I ordered this one. This is Hellfire top cap, and you can see that little ring light right there. So it actually, when it goes on, it goes on flush. So there's no like second gap right there. So it's directly the top cap to the top of the mod. And it makes it 22 millimeters, which it's there, but you know, with this mod being a little smaller, there's, you know, you can see my fingers getting caught on the lip. Is it visibly noticeable? No, but you know, if you have it in your hand, you can feel it. So it kind of annoyed me about the mod, but you know, it's well built for being a clone. You know, it is copper. And it looks friggin' awesome. It's got the Modish Metal Works drip tip on it, and I actually ordered a copper drip tip to go on this. But man, this thing, it hits great. The mixture with the silver and the copper are amazing. I'll show you what a vape's like here. I got a 1.8 ohm. I just made a video, so if you watch my other video and you're watching this one, it's the same setup. It's a 0.8 ohm microcoil on cotton. Guess when I took it off, I unscrewed the screw. technical difficulties. And the adjustable airflow cap, I don't know if you noticed when I was showing you it earlier, I kept screwing with it because it doesn't always sit all the way down. I know, and you should know this as well as I do, you know, and some people I'm sure are going to comment, you should have bought the real thing, but blow me, because, you know, I'll buy what I want. You know what, these, I do not think deter anybody. Clones do not deter anybody from buying the real thing. People that want the real thing will buy the real thing. People that can't afford the real thing will buy clones. If you don't like my opinion, I don't know what to tell you. Do I think it's destroying the vaping community? No. I think it's getting more people into it that can't afford, you know, $200 for a mod and, you know, another $150 for an atomizer or $100 for an atomizer, and you know, this is about not smoking, and we need to keep it on that. And like, there's some other things that I'd like to get into about that, but you know, let me stick to this. And you know, it's awesome. Little small. I've always been like a big fan of 500 batteries, but I'm really starting to dig the 350 in the small size with the microcoil. Like, it's just been my thing for the past, you know, couple months. But now that it's working, it's great, man. Like, the mod, I wish I had a voltage meter to do a voltage drop. Excuse me. But like, it does hit harder than my real nemissis. Probably because of the conductivity of the copper. You know, but the machine quality on this topcap is top notch. It fits the IGOW perfectly. It gives you that flush look like we all like. It's made out of stainless steel. The guy from Capitall Vapes makes a bunch of different ones. He makes acrylic, copper. I don't know if he makes copper. I know he has like copper rings on some of the acrylic. He makes brass ones. And I even think a nice brushed brass would look very nice on this. And I really wish I could, you know, have the copper lock ring that fit this, but you know, mix it up a little bit. But you know, the copper looks nice, man. Like, I can't complain about the look of it. It hits great. You know, there's a group buy going on now, possibly. I don't know if it's closed or not yet, but so it can be obtained per se. That's another thing that clones do. You know, they make you know, mods obtainable for people. Do I think they should steal people's stuff? No, I don't. Would I do it personally? No, I wouldn't. But you know, do I buy them? Absolutely, I surely do. You know, and I basically use them more or less for the parts than to actually use the mod itself. But you know, to each their own, and nobody should get on anybody about if they buy a clone or not. You know what? If they're not smoking, then you know, the clone has done its job, because you know, it's more of a healthier lifestyle than like to be bashing people because of what they can afford, man. Like, I think it's slightly ridiculous. You know, I can afford. Personally, I can afford the higher end stuff, and I do have a lot of higher end stuff. But you know, I'm not going to spend $200 on a mod that I just want the top cap button and a lock ring for, especially because you know, I'm going to butcher their name, but I always say nemissis or what. I really don't know the name. I can't pronounce it because it's not English. But they don't make. They do make the buttons and they do make the top caps, but they do not make the lock rings. And I would spend more on a button and a top cap, which I would probably buy if I could buy the whole set. Like I really would, just because I have an authentic nemissis, anodized tube with clone parts, but what, they don't make the lock ring for it. So there's not much I can do but put a clone part on it because I don't want to break up my legit nemissis. So it is what it is. And here's another part of my rant. I'm sorry this video is running so long, but I see a lot of stuff about people complaining because stores or restaurants or places are saying no smoking, including vaping. Now, some people get real butthurt about this, but it all starts because people go in these places with running a quad coil at 0.2 ohms, and they're blowing huge ass clouds in a public place. That's not meant. It's given us a bad rap. It's almost to the point of ignorance that we're doing it to ourselves. If you're going to be in a restaurant and there's people eating and you're blowing huge ass clouds in there, of course they're going to stop. They're not going to allow vaping in there. There's a couple places that I go where they do allow it, but we kind of go later at night and we go as a huge group of people, so we kind of have our own area, and they don't complain. But for me, I use rebuildables and I use low ohms, and my vapor production is a lot more than my friends that are using cardo tanks and EVODs and stuff like that. So and it kind of lingers in the air, and people like that there's no smoking in places, and they really don't want to be bothered, because they don't know what it is. And that's the thing. We as a community need to understand. We're our own worst enemies in some point, to where you got to think before you do, man. Did you start vaping because you could vape inside, or did you start vaping to stop smoking? You know what I mean? You got to look at the big picture. We have enough. We're fighting enough to just be allowed to vape. Period. To throw a fit and boycott stores because they won't let you vape in there. What? It's their store. They have the right to tell you what you can do and what you can't. Are you mad at them because you have to wear shoes, pants, and a shirt? No, you're not. But but you get butthurt if you can't vape in there and you blow a huge cloud and it fucking offends somebody's grandmother and they complain. You gotta look at what what you're doing to help the situation out. But that's the end of my rant. And keep vaping, man. Get off the cigarettes. And let's act like a community that doesn't hate each other because of who uses what and what they can afford, man. Let's be a community of helping people out and spread the word that vaping will extend your life. And that's all I got.